The Vows of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra Sutra. When the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Samantabhadra, having discoursed upon and eulogized the exalted merits and virtues of the Tathagata, addressed the Kumara Sudana and a great company of bodhisattvas as follows, quote, O noble-minded man, the infinite merits and virtues of the Tathagata are ineffable. If such were preached by all the Buddhas of the 10 quarters, who consecutively enumerated them during unspeakable and incalculable eons in the Buddha domains equal to the smallest dust motes in the atmosphere in number, they could not thereby be exhausted. If there be any who aspire to attain this highest state of merit, let them understand that its realization depends upon the attainment of the 10-fold paramita, the vows of widest and highest aspiration, and the actual practice of them. But what is the 10-fold paramita, you might ask? It is, first, to pay the highest homage and veneration to all Buddhas. Second, to preach the virtues of and to praise the glories of the Tathagatas. Third, to make abundant offerings for the veneration to the Buddhas. Fourth, to be penitent and confess one's evil deeds and hindrances. Fifth, to approve of and rejoice at the merits and virtues of others. Sixth, to request Buddhas to set in motion the wheel of the Dharma. Seventh, to beseech Buddhas to remain in the world. Eighth, to be a zealous follower of the way of the Buddhas forever. Ninth, to be always in harmony with all beings, bestowing on them gifts according to their needs. 10th, to turn over all one's merits to benefit all beings. The Kumara Sudana said to the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, What course shall we follow, O noble one, to fulfill all these virtues, from, quote, rendering homage to Buddhas, to, quote, turning over one's own merits to all beings? The Bodhisattva Samantabhadra replied to the Kumara Sudana, quote, O noble-minded man, as to what is said regarding the homage and worship of the Buddhas, it means that by the power of the virtues and vows of the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, I, note that I means any person, have profound faith and deep understanding. As though I were face to face simultaneously with all the Buddhas of all the Buddha worlds, such Buddhas equal to the flying smallest dust motes in number throughout the worlds of the Dharma and the cosmic void of the 10 quarters and the 3 ages. I worship and adore them constantly with my pure deeds, vis-a-vis the body, vocal, and mental deeds. Before every Buddha in the Buddha land, I present myself by miraculous transformation in unutterable and innumerable bodies, like unto the smallest specks of dust in number. With every one of my manifestations, I pay homage to all the Buddhas of every Buddha domain, and such Buddhas are equal to the smallest dust motes in number. My homage will be ended when the limitation of the infinite space is ended. As the space is boundless, so also is my homage to the Buddhas without end. So it is when the spheres of beings are ended, the karmas of beings are ended, the sorrows of beings are ended. These too are endless. Even so is my homage to all the Buddhas endless. Thought following upon thought, without interruption, and in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds, without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what signifies, quote, to preach the virtues of and to praise the glories of the Tathagatas? It means that in the smallest dust motes of all the worlds of the 10 quarters, and the 3 ages throughout the Dharma circles, and the cosmic void, upon each speck of dust, where the Buddhas are dwelling, equal in number to the smallest specks of dust in all the worlds. And each Buddha is surrounded by an assembly of bodhisattvas as wide as the ocean. I shall apply my profound insight and my temporal knowledge to fathom them till I thoroughly understand. Then will I praise them with my oration, as though it were with the angelic and eloquent tongues of the goddess Sarasvati, each tongue emitting a boundless ocean of all forms of sound, each voice emitting a boundless ocean of all forms of speech, proclaiming the ocean of the merits of all Tathagatas. Such praises shall continue without cessation through endless time and the limitless realms of the Dharma worlds. My praises will cease when the void of space is ended, or the spheres of beings are ended, or the karmas of beings are ended, or the sorrows of beings are ended. But all the things from the space of the void, even to the sorrows of beings, are endless. So also are my praises endless. Thought succeeding thought without interruption, and in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what is meant by abundant offerings out of veneration to the Buddhas? It means that in the smallest dust motes of the Buddha domains of the Dharma circles and of the cosmic void, and of the 10 quarters and 3 yugas, in each speck of dust exist the Buddhas, equal in number to the smallest dust motes of all worlds. Each Buddha is surrounded by an ocean-wide assembly of bodhisattvas, in whom I have profound faith and reverent understanding through the power of the vows of the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. I would offer them the most rare and wondrous gifts, such as the flowery clouds, garland clouds, heavenly music clouds, celestial tapestry clouds, angelic garment clouds, all kinds of heavenly perfumes, scented balms, aromatic incenses, aromatic powders, with equal in quality to Mount Sumeru, the king of mountains. I would present lighted lamps of various kinds, such as the cream lamps, the oil lamps, and the lamps of sweet perfumes, the wick of each lamp being in size as Mount Sumeru, the king of the mountains, and the burning oil of each as great as the water of the ocean. Ceaselessly would I offer such gifts in veneration. O noble-minded man, among all gifts, the crown of them are the gifts of the Dharma. Such gifts are called the offering of, quote, following the instructions of all the Buddhas, the offering of benefit for all beings, the offering of embracing and sustaining all beings, the offering of taking upon oneself the suffering of others, the offering of fostering the root of merit diligently, the offering of swerving not from the Bodhisattva vows, and the offering of departing not from the love of the Bodhi heart. O noble-minded man, truly the merit to be derived from the offering of material gifts, such as those enumerated, are infinite. Yet, in comparison with a single thought of Dharma, they are as nothing. Those merits derived from material offerings would not be equal to 100th part of the merit of a thought of Dharma. Nay, not to 100,000th part of kotis, of nayutas, of kalans, and of Upanishads. And why? Because the Dharma is held in the highest esteem by all the Tathagatas. Moreover, all the Buddhas are begotten from the Dharma through the perfecting of their conduct in accordance with it. If the Bodhisattvas make offerings to the Dharma to the Buddhas, then their offerings to the Tathagatas are completed. Thus do the Bodhisattvas present the truest offering of gifts to the Tathagatas. My offering of such great and noble gifts to Buddhas will cease if the cosmic void of space is ended, or the spheres of beings are ended, or the karmas of beings are ended, or the sorrows of beings are ended. But as all the things from the space of the void to the sorrows of all beings are endless, so also will my offering to Buddhas be endless. Thought succeeding thought without interruption, in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what is meant by being penitent and confessing one's evil deeds and hindrances? A bodhisattva would think thus: all the evil deeds I have committed hitherto during the kalpas without beginning of the past, caused by the emotion of lust, hatred, and stupidity, leading to bodily, speech, and mental actions, are boundless. If such deeds were corporeal and in forms, all the cosmic spaces, unlimited as it is, could not contain them. I now confess and repent them all by my 3 purified deeds, and with a sincere heart, pledging myself not to commit an evil deed hereafter. I will always keep myself pure in the prohibitive precepts and in all active moral deeds. I will lay this penance before all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of all worlds and Dharma circles, equal in number to the smallest dust motes. My penance will cease when the void of space is ended, or the spheres of beings are ended, or the karmas of beings are ended, or the sorrows of beings are all ended. But as all the things from the void of space to the sorrows of beings are endless, so also is my penitence endless. Thought succeeding thought without interruption, in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds, without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what is meant by, quote, approving of and rejoicing at the merits and virtues of others? In Buddha lands, the Buddhas equal in number to the smallest dust motes of all the worlds, throughout all the Dharma circles and cosmic void of the 10 quarters, and in the duration of the 3 yugas, have devoted their lives to the sole purpose of acquiring all wisdom and diligently accumulating merit. Since they began to direct their minds toward Bodhi, throughout the duration of unutterable and innumerable kalpas and in Buddha domains, equal in number to the smallest dust motes of all worlds, during each kalpa, having sacrificed their heads, eyes, hands, and feet, in unutterable and incalculable numbers, as the smallest dust motes of Buddha spheres, having thus overcome all difficulties and accomplished all the arduous tasks, perfected the various stages of paramita, passing through the experiences of the bodhisattva wisdom, and accomplished the highest bodhi of Buddhas, till entered into parinirvana, whereupon they distributed the sariras. All such good roots of merit I emulate and rejoice in. Moreover, whatever merit or virtue may be possessed by any being, either of the 6 divisions of existence, or belonging to the 4 kinds of birth, or appertaining to any species of life in the worlds of the 10 quarters, though such merit may be as infinitesimal as a grain of dust, all will have my sympathy and corresponding regard. With all such I rejoice. Again, all the Sravakas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, the thoroughly learned ones, and those who are still to be advanced on the path of disciples, all such are the saints of the 10 quarters and the 3 generations, with whom I rejoice in their merit, if any may be possessed. All the bodhisattvas, who through infinite self-sacrifice and boundless achievement have overcome all obstacles, and having formed the wish to attain the highest goal of Bodhi, with them also I rejoice in their vast merits. Thus, even though the void of space, together with the states of being, with the karmas of beings, with the sorrows of beings, though all these be ended, yet my approval and joy in the merits of all beings will not be ended. Thought succeeding thought, without interruption, in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds, without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what is meant by beseeching the Buddhas to set in motion the, quote, wheel of Dharma? It means that I will apply my body, speech, and mental efforts and various expedient means and the most skillful methods earnestly to request the Buddhas to rotate the wondrous wheel of Dharma. Such Buddhas are incalculable in number as the smallest flying dust motes of the Buddha domains of the 10 quarters and the 3 yugas throughout the Dharma realms and the cosmic void. Each dust mote respectfully contains therein unutterable and innumerable vast Buddha lands, equal in number to the smallest dust motes. In each country dwell ineffable and innumerable Buddhas equal to the smallest dust motes in number. In each moment there are Buddhas equal to the smallest dust motes in number who are attaining enlightenment, and each is surrounded by an ocean-wide assembly of bodhisattvas. I constantly request such Buddhas to turn the wheel of right Dharma. Thus, even though the space of the void has ended, and likewise the world of beings, the karmas of beings, and the sorrows of beings all have ended, yet my request is endless. Thought succeeding thought, without interruption, and in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds, without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what is meant by, quote, beseeching the Buddhas to remain in the world? The Buddhas are infinite in number as the minutest dust motes of the 10 quarters, and 3 generations throughout the Dharma realms and cosmic void. And so are the Bodhisattvas, the Shravakas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, the wholly learned ones, the partly learned ones, and the well-learned laymen. When they set their minds on the attainment of nirvana, I entreat them all to remain in touch with mankind instead of entering nirvana. Even to the duration of kalpas of Buddha lands, equal in the minutest dust motes in number, in order to benefit all living beings. Thus, even though the cosmic void has ended, and likewise the states of beings, the karmas of beings, and the sorrows of beings, though all such have an end, yet my petition to the Buddhas is endless. Thought succeeds thought, without interruption, and in bodily, speech, and mental deeds, without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what is meant by being, quote, under Buddha's guidance forever? It means, for instance, the Tathagata Vairocana of the Saha world, who from the beginning, when he made an earnest wish for obtaining Buddhahood in order to deliver all beings, and having made the exquisite advance by unremittingly skillful exertion, and sacrificed his lives and bodies in unutterable and countless number for the sake of almsgiving, he stripped off his own skin for parchment, used his own blood for ink, and his bones for writing instruments. Thus the scripture had been written in bulk, as great as Mount Sumeru. In appreciation of the Dharma, he would disregard the royal throne, dominions, palaces, gardens, and all that appertained to him. He spared no energy in his arduous career, and painstaking, until he accomplished the great Bodhi under the tree. Then he displayed various exalted powers, manifested various transmutations, revealed various Buddha figures, and presided at the various assemblies, such as the assemblies of great bodhisattvas, the assemblies of Sravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, the assemblies of the Takravarti Raja and petty kings and their retinues, the assemblies of Kshatriya, Brahmins, elders and laymen, the assemblies of Devas, Nagas, 8 groups, mankind and subhuman. At these assemblies and sanctuaries he spoke in a full and round voice of thunder, with expedient means and skillful methods, teaching the beings in a manner befitting their inclinations and happiness. Thus he led them to the maturity of Bodhi, until he entered nirvana. All these examples I will follow, not only that of the present world-honored one, Vairocana, but of all the Tathagatas of the Buddha countries, equal in number to the dust motes of the 10 quarters and 3 yugas, throughout the Dharma realms and cosmic void. I will follow the examples of the Buddhas from thought to thought. Even though the void of space has ended, and the worlds of beings, the karmas of beings, the sorrows of beings, all have ended, yet my practice and following of the examples of the Buddhas will not be ended. Thought succeeds thought without interruption, and in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what is meant by, quote, always in compliance with beings? It means always in harmony with the beings of the worlds of the 10 quarters, throughout the Dharma circles and cosmic void. They are known as the beings to be born from the womb, from the egg, from moisture, and produced by metamorphosis. They live in different elements, either abiding on the earth, in the water, in the fire that is heat, or in the wind. There are also some beings flying in the void, preaching in forests and bushes. They are of various species, forms, lineaments, colors, length of life, appellations, natures, knowledge, habits, characteristics, manners, costumes, and diets. They dwell in innumerable abiding places, in towns, villages, cities, and palaces. They comprise the devas, the nagas, the 8 groups, human beings, subhumans. Some have no feet, some 2 feet, some 4 feet, and others have many feet. Some are with form, some without form, with sense, without sense, or neither with nor without sense. All of these should be accommodated and served by me according to their needs and their natures, as attentively as I would show filial respect to my parents, due respect to my teachers, to elders and arhats, up to the Tathagatas, all in equality. I would be a good physician to the sick, a guide to those who have wandered from the path, setting their feet on the right way. I would be a light to those who wander in darkness. I would enable the people in poverty to discover the vaults of treasure. A bodhisattva should thus benefit all beings with equal treatment, and bestow his loving care on all beings alike. And why? Because if a bodhisattva serves all beings, that is equal to serving the Buddhas dutifully. To hold all beings in high esteem and render them respectful services, that is equal to reverencing and serving the Tathagatas. To make all beings happy is to please all Tathagatas. And why? Because the great compassionate heart is the essence of Buddhahood. For the sake of delivering all beings, the Bodhisattva develops great compassion, and from the great compassion springs the Bodhi heart, and from the Bodhi heart comes the enlightenment. This is like unto the king of mighty trees growing in the wilderness and barren desert. If it gets no water, it wilts and dies, but if its roots be well watered, we shall see it flourishing with full foliage, blossoming in its full efflorescence, and bearing plentiful fruit. A king Bodhi tree is even thus. All beings are roots of the Bodhi tree. The Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas are its fruits and flowers. If Bodhisattvas apply the water of great compassion to all beings who form its roots, the Bodhi tree will bloom with flowers and bear the fruits of the wisdom of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And why? If Bodhisattvas apply the nectar of great compassion to benefit all beings, they will attain the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore, the beings are essential to the Bodhi, for without them, There are no bodhisattvas able to attain the supreme transcendental wisdom. Ponder, O noble-minded man, on the truth in this parable. Look upon all beings with impartial mind and equality. Thus will the great compassion be brought to the state of fullness and completion. To bestow the great compassion upon all beings, that is equal to serving the Tathagatas to their satisfaction. My compassionate embrace of all beings shall never cease. Even though the space of the void has ended, the worlds of beings, the karmas of beings, and the sorrows of beings are all ended, yet my boundless compassion is endless, and in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds, without weariness. Again, O noble-minded man, what signifies, quote, turning over all one's merits to benefit all sentient beings? This means that all one's merits acquired from the commencement of paying the highest homage to all the Buddhas and serving the needs of all beings shall be transferred to all beings throughout the Dharma worlds and immeasurable spaces of the universe, wishing them to be happy and free from affliction or illness. All their evil projects will fail, and all their virtuous intentions will be quickly achieved. Close the door against evil, and open the right path of nirvana to men and devas. If the beings are suffering the most terrible tortures in expiation of their accumulated evil doings, I will substitute myself and take upon myself the sufferings that their evil deeds have brought upon them. So shall they be released from evil deeds and finally attain the supreme Bodhi. Thus do all the bodhisattvas devote themselves to the cultivation of virtue and merit, and turn the rewards over to the benefit of all beings. My loving embrace of all beings is eternal. Even though the void of space has ended, or the worlds of beings, or the karmas of beings, or the sorrows of beings have all ended, yet my compassion for all beings, by turning over my rewards of merit to them, is endless. Thought succeeds thought without interruption, and in bodily, vocal, and mental deeds without weariness. O noble-minded man, such is the tenfold great vow of all bodhisattvas and mahasattvas in completion. The bodhisattvas who achieve the performance of these vows will lead all beings to the fruition of Bodhi and attainment of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. He, whomsoever is a bodhisattva, can fulfill the ocean of vows of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. Therefore, O noble-minded man, thou shouldest comprehend the truth and attain thereto.